We're joined today, as Rochelle mentioned, by Axiros North America. And today, we're going to go over really TR069 and the benefits of remote management, really discussing the open standards and focusing on compliance testing. As you know, with Zyxel, all of our managed Wi-Fi solutions, we do our best to stick to the standards, Broadband Forum Industry Standard TR069, and looking towards the future, TR369 as well. And that's one of the main focal points of today's webinar, open standards, open opportunities, sticking to the standard and being able to interop with any and everyone we can. So again, as I mentioned, we're joined here with Axiros North America. Do you want to do a quick intro before we get into it, Michael?
Sure. Well, first to say thanks for having us. We're happy to be here. As you mentioned, open standards are important. It's the basis of our relationship with Zyxel and with the industry. Really working with Broadband Forum and other open standards institutions, they're really sort of a compact that is made by member companies and those that are using open standards for the delivery of hardware and software solutions that are used out in the world. And that compact includes ongoing interoperability, adherence to standards, and contribution to the industry. So that's how we view our relationship with Broadband Forum and thereby with our customers to a large degree, and with partners like Zyxel, with whom we interoperate on an ongoing basis and whose devices we encounter in the field. So we're excited about this webinar for a couple of reasons. One is it's first in a series of three, starting with TR69 and these solutions that we're discussing here for FCC compliance testing that's very relevant for tier 2 and tier 3 operators, all the way up to non-incumbents and incumbents that are looking forward to doing some BEAD financing, but also because we're promoting together, I think in this webinar, a no compromises are necessary message. You don't have to make a compromise for convenience. With walled garden solutions, you can choose two companies that use open standards proudly, that adhere to them religiously, and that offer the same conveniences as sometimes what might look like easy choices of selecting one hardware and software provider. There are risks incumbent in that, and hopefully we'll address some of that during the course of the webinar and in our question and answer period afterwards. So we're very happy to be here.
Great. All right. Shall we jump right into it? Like Michael mentioned, Rochelle mentioned, we will have Q&A session at the end, a bit of an open discussion between ourselves. So please feel free to ask any and everything, and hopefully we can get all of your questions answered and set you right on the right path forward.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks everybody for joining.
Yeah. All right, we'll get started.
Excellent. We are really happy to be with you here today. We're happy that you're here. Today we're going to be talking about TR69, TR369, broadband performance testing for CAF, RDOF, and BEAD compliance, tools that are relevant for today. So we are kicking off the first in a series of webinars that are designed to help operators, large and small, work very efficiently to manage fleets of devices that are delivering critical revenue, producing services to your customers. Whether you are running an ISP, a WISP, a CSP, a BSP, there's no shortage of abbreviations in our industry. You are in the right place. We want to talk about the tools that can help you save hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in operating costs with teams that are small to do jobs that are big. So you're in the right place, and we hope you're enjoying the first in a series of webinars for tools that matter now. So an example of two tools that are relevant for today. Access 5, auto configuration server from Axiros with USP support, and Axiros broadband test service integrated into one solution. The need for serious broadband management is well understood. And the incumbent and non-incumbent operators helping close the digital divide across the United States are confronted with a variety of new issues. Serious business requires serious tools, and remote device management in the customer premise is required for everyday onboarding, provisioning, proactive management and monitoring, troubleshooting by customer service representatives and NOC operators. And if you don't have a lot of customer service representatives or a NOC, but you still have the responsibility and want to discharge that responsibility in a serious and meaningful way, this is a solution that can help you do it. Web accessible Axiros programs now place world-class software within reach of service providers that have hundreds, thousands, or even millions of devices. It's never been more important for operators to have the freedom of choice for the hardware and the software that they choose. This helps avoid the loss of bargaining power and avoids the risk of unfair business practices. So we'll start with TR69. Many of you are familiar with TR69, or at least have heard of it. It's one of the protocols that's published by the Broadband Forum to provide for standardized remote device management. TR69 allows for auto provisioning, constant control over device settings, configuration, management services, diagnostics. Many of the tools that are used for everyday device management and maintenance. Simplified maintenance is often conducted through mass operations such as firmware updates, remote monitoring of customer experience parameters, that type of thing. In fact, TR69 is so widely adopted with over 1 billion devices connected and under management. It really has allowed for the establishment of the foundation on which the Internet of Things and the connected home has been established. So anybody who's familiar with Axiros and with some of my talks about USP, going back to 2018, when the standard was first being promulgated and then finalized, and in 2019 and 2020 started to get released out into the wild, it captured everybody's imagination for its possibilities of what it can do. So TR369, or USP, shares the same data model as TR69, and that provides for a fairly, let's say, easy transition to a protocol that uses the same data model on a customer premise device, but allows inspection and collection of data through different message transfer protocols. So it can allow for always-on communication, which makes for very efficient collection of data. It can be precise in its inspection of data, and that can make it much more suitable for wide scalability when we're talking about tremendous amounts of data that can be collected, because it can be collected very precisely, very specific points of a data model. It can be done so all the time, should you like to do so, and it can be used to create insights that might otherwise have to be collected over a period of time using non-persistent inspection. And what's important to consider in choosing a platform is that software solutions such as the one we're talking about here ought to support a wide range of options for legacy, current state-of-the-art equipment, forthcoming and roadmap customer premise equipment, because that is going to be necessary in the future. It might not be on your plate right now, but having the ability to do it inherent in the platform that you're using currently is going to be important in the future, so why not have it? Closing the digital divide. Rural fiber and fixed wireless expansion is a tale of honor in the United States right now. Job growth, increased connectivity, higher productivity, a success of national significance. So when we're looking at the tools that we're talking about today, software and hardware equal to this great mission are available now with functionality designed for present and future requirements.
Let's take a quick look at some of the functions that Access provides. Upon logging into the Access portal, users can see the landing page with shortcuts to some of the most used features. Clicking on Device Management will take the users to the Unified Device Inventory System. This is where managed devices of all makes and models are displayed in a single pane. Each device entry has metadata corresponding to the device that is coming directly from the device. Access can also interface with external customer BSS OSS systems to bring in data that can enrich device details, such as customer data. The inventory screen also acts as an ad hoc reporting tool, where customers can select or filter devices and export them in the form of a CSV report. Users can also interact directly with the data model of the device on a per device basis. A variety of commands ranging from simple TR69 remote procedure calls to more complex custom workflows can be sent to the device from the job manager. As the job gets executed, you can also control the level of logging that Access does to help with troubleshooting. The log levels vary from 0 to 10, with 0 being the least verbose and 10 being the most. From the CP Details Summary tab, users can directly go to the Device Customer Support portal. This is a curated and customizable view displaying a combination of useful device parameters, enrichment data from external systems, and the ability to perform single-click operations on devices such as reboot and factory reset. Data is grouped into widgets and tabs based on their function and the entity they target. For this Zyxel VMG4927 device, the portal provides a high-level device overview, data points for internet connection details, Ethernet port information, Wi-Fi connection details, as well as connected device details. From a Wi-Fi management perspective, users can see Wi-Fi radio details, access point information, as well as have the ability to change SSIDs or password on the device. The portal could also be configured to allow users to perform ad hoc TR143 diagnostic tests, such as latency and speed tests. Oftentimes, we hear our customers saying that their main trouble calls are about connected devices and their perceived performance over Wi-Fi. In such a scenario, customer support agent can simply check the speeds as reported by the CPE by performing the ad hoc test. And following that, they can check the connected devices tab to check the devices that are connected, how they are connected, as well as look at the KPIs that are reported by the managed device for each of the connected devices. We also provide visual cues for easy identification of performance level of the connected devices based on thresholds that can be defined. In addition to single device targeting functions, our mass operations allow providers to scale the interaction with devices massively, targeting even the entire population of devices under management. Firmware upgrade jobs or campaigns can be configured simply by creating a job, configuring the job parameters, selecting the target list of devices, and creating a schedule via this wizard interface. Once the job is created and submitted, the users can check the status and outcome of the upgrade jobs or campaigns using the statistics screen. There are many more functions available for use or to extend in the ACS, but these are some of the highly used ones. The extensibility of the platform has also allowed us to integrate the AXBBT broadband performance testing module directly into this UI for customers who sign up for the performance testing program. The testing process is quite straightforward. Customers would import the list of devices that the PMO module has selected by uploading the CSV file consisting of these fields. It's required that all the devices that are to be tested are already under management by Axis prior to this step. Once imported, users can create the AXBBT test schedule via the device inventory portal. Users select the test type, the test tier, as well as the test start date. Speed and latency tests must be scheduled in non-overlapping weeks. Once the schedule is created, users can view ongoing test execution outcomes without having to wait for the completion of a schedule. Navigate to monitoring and broadband performance monitoring. This will allow us to see the latency test report, the upload and download speed test report, as well as the performance monitoring dashboard. These reports can be directly downloaded and sent to USAC for submission. Similarly, can be done for the upload and download speed test report as well. For easier monitoring of test site performance results, a visual dashboard showing the performance data in a graphical format on a per device basis is also available.
So we want to say thank you for everybody who has joined and with whom we're going to be taking some questions now. Be on the lookout for upcoming webinars featuring USP and Wi-Fi optimization. We're happy to take questions and to discuss the topics covered today.
Okay. Looks like we have quite a few questions coming in, and Michael's been a bit busy addressing some of them. All right. I guess we can start with the first one that came in. I think while we were joined a bit early. The big question for NISC users, how will this integration, if we move to Axiros, work for existing NISC USS users?
Right. Now, it was a good question. Looked like there were two that were kind of related. First of all, there are a lot of tools that not only for device management, but for other functions of NISC members that are very valuable, and some are kind of cherished. iView and iView Connect is one of those applications that people have asked about. We do have an iView integration that is being completed now. We've taken input from several NISC members, and with their help and with the cooperation of NISC, we have created an interface that's going through its testing now. And we think we've captured most of what from our conversations with NISC operators would represent the most commonly used workflows and features. So there isn't a limitation that's been placed on our cooperation with NISC on either side. So if the things that have been integrated and that are going to be featured first in our integration with iView Connect are not sufficient or map to your current operations, we're more than willing to address those, but we believe that it'll be quite complete. And that many of the operators were using it in the same way. So we're very happy to have their support and the support of some members who are already working with us on that integration. So we understand that to be an important consideration. makes a lot of sense. And we do integrate with a lot of different billing systems and third-party solutions as a standard course of our business. Because Axiros was founded in 2002 in the Munich, Germany area, and Axiros North America is a wholly owned subsidiary. We've been around since 2018 in this marketplace as such, and a few years before we were incorporated as a wholly owned subsidiary. We come from a long history of deploying our solutions. We're talking about one of them here and a service, but we have many different applications and platforms that are used throughout the world. And we were often working with system integrators who were deploying our software platforms with operators large and small. So the practice of integrating to a third-party system such as iView and iView Connect is not new to us, and so we were happy to do it.
Great, great. I think that addresses both of those questions a little expanded there that he sent in.
Yeah, hopefully. And I will say, to reinforce what you may already believe to be so, it looks like a really excellent tool. So we were happy to integrate with it.
All right, great. All right, up next, let's see. Considering the evolving landscape of IoT devices with varying capabilities and protocols, how does TR069 adapt to ensure effective management and provisioning of these devices while maintaining scalability and security?
Yeah, good questions. It kind of I'll answer in this way because I don't want Tier 69 to be misrepresented in my answer. The reason that Axiros elected to have really our auto configuration server access that we're speaking of as the primary provisioning tool that's most commonly used for the types of things we're addressing in this webinar is part of a platform that has evolved over time. We continue to have a very active roadmap. It has a lot of features that are not even particularly relevant to what we're discussing today. And those are things that can be north and southbound integrations. It can also be features that we're not particularly focused on at this moment, but are inherent capabilities of the product. One of them is native support for TR369, which was mentioned. And so I would say your question is a good one, but I'll say that I don't believe that TR69 addresses the matter of IoT device data collection and management. That would most likely be the job for TR369 or USP. And it was one of the things that was addressed in kind of the overhaul, if you will, of TR69 into the TR369 or USP protocol and architecture capabilities. Some of those were as simple as addressing such things as NAT traversal with different protocols that are available. The use of netted device architectures is very common right now. XMPP is often used. That has some challenges. USP TR369 was addressed some of that NAT traversal. It also allowed for the use of several different message transfer protocols. WebSockets would be a good example. And so there are some other possibilities, I think, for IoT devices, particularly in the smart home area, smart city, or other types of applications where you might use both. So for instance, with a customer premise device that is provisioned fine, managed fine, and certain data is collected just fine, mass operations are done really well through the platform for those Tier 69 compliant devices. Fine is good. Fine is proven. Fine is fine. it's not disruptive to change, fine. But if you wanted to do a lot more collection of several parts of the data model, you might use USP, for instance, where you could have a WebSocket always on, persistent, highly secure connection to collect Wi-Fi data. Well, the same could be true with different types of IoT devices. The message transfer protocols that are designed into, allowed by, enabled, whatever the right language might be, with USP, those might be the right way to approach IoT devices. And that's actually what makes the Axiros Access platform so, I'll say, convenient, well designed, because it addresses the things that are important to a lot of people now. But if you want to do something with USB, you can do it in the same portal, in the same service, in the same program. And so with IoT devices, without getting into some specific details of what you might have in mind, though we can do that if you'd like, you can use both at the same time. And that's what makes Access such a cool product. And Axiros is all about making sure that its platforms are designed for continuous plowing under and renewal. The one thing we don't do is accumulate tech debt. And because we are independent software company from any hardware that we manufacture ourselves, we don't develop a lot of tech debt that might be different for other people. And it allows us to have the courage, maybe the foresight, to be willing to plow under and keep renewing the software to maintain best practices for design, to ensure ongoing use, for service life and investment matters alone, but also because we want to always make sure that the best technology is what's being presented and enabled in our platform. So I think that's a long answer to your question, but it was a really good question. And so I hope that helps. If I didn't answer it fully, hit us up in chat, or we're always available to you.
Yeah, our contact emails are there. If there's any additional questions, you can always send those to us directly and we can work with you from there. Let's see. Maybe since we already touched on a bit of TR369, we can expand on that a bit. I mean, I know on our side, obviously we are looking forward to looking towards the future and have integrated a TR369 USP agent into our devices, into our products, especially our Wi-Fi 6 moving forward. We'll be able to utilize that. But there is some concern. There is a lot of, let's say, negative items out there saying, TR069 is now deprecated. It's useless. We need to move on. And that's sometimes a bit of concern, especially, like you mentioned, over 1 billion devices already being managed. I mean, I think maybe it's a misperception that, oh, it's going away, it's being replaced, but that's not necessarily the case, even as you mentioned, we can run both at the same time.
Yeah, and to that matter, and because I think it probably is something that some people have heard, in fact, we were kidding the other day when we put the title up for this, and it led with TR69, there was sort of a, oh, why are we talking about that? Well, the answer is it's very relevant. There are plenty of things in the world that have been deprecated, but that means a certain very specific thing. It means that when certain functionality is going to be addressed that might not be covered in TR69, it will be addressed in TR369 design and use cases. That took place the day that it was designed. The decision just wasn't taken, and it would have been extremely premature to say, "Oh, we're done with TR69." But it will be around for years, decades, I would imagine. I remember the day when SNMP was one of the least popular protocols on Earth, right? And so was DOCSIS 1, but there's DOCSIS 3, 4. So, what it means is that the design of USP is wonderful, It's amazing, actually, and the people who contributed to it, including Axiros. And there were other people in the industry that are promoting solutions who didn't contribute to it, and didn't help design it, and didn't help test it, and didn't help put it out in the world. To them who might say that, well, Tier 69 is a little outdated and little bit slow. No, it's great. Tier 69 does so many things extremely well. What it doesn't do is it doesn't collect persistently a lot of data, and it doesn't have message transfer protocols that are very thin. Well, USP does those things. So Tier 69 will continue to be extremely relevant, and it'll be extremely relevant until it isn't, right? And that's the thing with having both Tier 69 and USP coexist and equally manageable from both the platform that we're talking about here and your software on your hardware, Andrew. That we've put some press out that we've done ongoing benchmark testing with Zyxel devices with Tier 69 and 369 clients and agents. You don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be concerned with using Tier 69 now for the things that it's really good at. And it is really good at a lot of things. It continues to be one of the languages that our platform speaks, but our platform speaks other languages as well. And for every type of application and use case, there will be choices that will be made. And there would be things that it would be absolutely insane to do with USP now, at a time when Tier 69 is so good at doing them. You would just consider that business disruption. And so when one thing is deprecated, it doesn't mean that it's useless. It means that it is no longer going to have additional features. But the existence of Tier 69 and 369 together solves that problem, and it becomes sort of a non-issue. It doesn't have much meaning.
Great. Awesome. Okay, I think we have a bit more time here. We could take a few more questions. I think
Yeah, we need a tough one for Sanjeev. He's I saw a good one. There was somebody who was asking questions about
I saw there in the field showing the individual CPE. How can
that's it.
you
Yeah.
on a particular CPE for troubleshooting? So
Right.
it looks like maybe there's a ongoing issue in the field, customer complaints. How can we use speed tests to troubleshoot?
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And believe it or not, we have pre-built widgets that use TR-143 to perform speed tests, upload, download, Wi-Fi neighboring diagnostics, ping and latency tests, etc. So depending upon the customer's use case, we can plug in the widgets and plug in the speed test endpoint, and that's it. It's as simple as that. And more important than everything is it's in the customer support portal. So you have a single place where you already have visibility into the various KPIs that the device brings back. So a single place to look at everything in the same context.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's absolutely possible. And, aren't we all so happy that we no longer live in the days where when the first scripted, action was to just reboot the device. Now a customer service representative or somebody working with the device can just check the performance. We've come a long way. So yeah, we make that executable via widget in the customer support portal. So good question.
And if we need a reboot, we do have the ability to reboot remotely as well. So
That hasn't changed.
for folks who want to do
Good
that.
point. Good point.
Yeah.
And I think that specifically, you mentioned TR-143 addresses some other questions that came up, the specific functionalities or capabilities for TR-69 to benefit FCC testing and certification. Obviously, that is our primary tool right now, TR-143 speed testing. Okay.
Exactly. So we used tier 143 primarily, and I know we've been testing a lot of interrupt for your upcoming devices as well. So we have tier 471, if I'm not mistaken, that's coming up too. So I think that will also play a big role in the future. So yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, on that same point, multi-gig is here.
yeah,
Several providers already offering 2, 5, 8, up to 8 gig service even.
right,
It's, it's quite
exactly.
impressive. Um, and maybe we can expand on that a bit. I mean, that's going to not ultimately important right now for FCC testing, anything like that, but looking towards the future, we're going to want to be able to benchmark and verify those speeds as well.
Absolutely, and that's one of the great things that we've been doing the past few months is with all the devices getting integrated, tested, and benchmarked with Access. We before we even go to a customer site or deploy a device in the customer site, we know that the device is performing well. We know the device's capabilities. So that's one of the cool things with what we've been doing in the past few months.
Yeah, and those are great points, and it's one of the reasons, truly why what continues to evolve in this particular space is the efficiency by which use cases, things that people do with devices that are under direct management, do on a daily basis for a variety of reasons. One might be to keep them updated and secure, through some mass operations that are possible. Some might be proactive monitoring. And you guys have just entered into that area, right? So there's certainly the need, well, from a regulatory point of view, there's a need to be able to benchmark, prove performance of device service level in exchange for funds and perhaps in other places for compliance with local or federal regulations. Then there's also the matter of network management. People who are operators, ISP, CSP, WISP, WISPs, all those people also want to keep operating costs low. Operating costs covers a lot of different things. Best described, I think, though, by not having to do anything that you don't have to do while maintaining really good service delivery. So doing a lot of testing is, if the analogy was going to the doctor and getting a blood test every week to make sure that you didn't develop something, that's impractical because the cost of the testing, the trips to the doctor, maybe insurance plans. But these protocols and these tools continue to evolve on both the hardware and the software side to as the antidote for being told that testing is bad. So you can continue to test as sort of a proactive measure to prove to yourself that they're delivering good quality. And that can serve the purpose of making sure that your customers are happy, that quality of experience component that is part of testing and proactive management. And also, it serves the same purpose of reacting when there isn't great service and you and the customer want to know why. So, when we're talking about these different subsects of the protocol, and then we're dissecting again a little bit deeper into different areas of the data model that are defined by that protocol, we're talking about these tools evolving in a way that is almost a direct feedback loop from the operator. And so when these protocols evolve, they're evolving because forums like standards bodies, I like to call the Broadband Forum a standards body. And the way that evolves is because it is a community of both users and a community of designers and creators. And so oftentimes somebody who is encountering an issue that might be, I'm not able to test enough to see trouble coming. And that will get injected into the very collaborative process that is creating and maintaining standards. And that will ultimately work its way through some different work groups within a forum, like Broadband Forum, an industry standards body. And that will ultimately lead to maybe a hack fest or a plug fest where different operators and creators will collaborate and test, make mistakes, improve, get better. And then when it's ready to be released out into the wild, it will result in a technical report. And that will ultimately become a feature. And that feature will ultimately become the answer to some real operators issue using or doing something. So it really is. Sometimes I think that the purpose of these standards bodies doesn't get talked about enough, but it's designed to serve the communities that are using it. So you guys just spoke to a very good example. So that's why we're so actively involved in all of that. We don't want to just sort of follow the herd. We want to help solve problems for customers, and we hopefully prove it every day. But it's all designed around making sure you can do good stuff, cost effectively when you want to do it, because they're your businesses that you're running. We just help hopefully make it easier when we're at our best.
Great. I think we'll take we have time for one more. I'll kind of try to combine them. I know it's more pointed. Is Axiros looking into matter? I know it's something that we keep our eye on a bit. And I think kind of branching out for that, anything impactful for the future, the outlook, in terms of AI or machine learning? And maybe we can combine that answer somehow.
Yeah, I'll answer in reverse order. So yes, all of our functions have been powered in one way or another by machine learning and M2M for years and years. AI is serving a purpose currently in some of our solutions, and we're highly focused on a internal project now we believe is going to be really interesting. And it is built around, again, what our customers are telling us are the things they need. And a lot of things that need to be addressed is making things easier with better information that doesn't sleep, that impacts or can improve performance of experience, quality of experience, help save trouble calls, trouble tickets, operating expenses, and the need for some expertise around correlating different events in the customer premise. So that's coming. As to matter, anybody who's had to suffer through me talking about astrophysics will know that all matter is very interesting to us as a protocol. Do we see a place for it in some of our solutions? It isn't now. It's interesting to us. We're seeing some big market leaders in different spaces focus highly on some of the things that matter is best at doing. I don't think it's a standout focus for us right now, but I'll say never say never.
Great. All right. I think with that, we'll wrap up now. Thank you again for your time. Thanks for joining us here, and especially the lively discussion at the end.
Yeah, no, thanks. We appreciate it. Hey, and if there was anything that wasn't covered, please, as Andrew mentions, reach out to us, and we'll hope to see you again.
Yep, absolutely. We plan to hopefully bring you some more series here so we can have some more discussions and cover some important topics for you in the future.
Great. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks, Andrew, for being a gracious host.
Andrew, thanks, Richard.
Great. Thank you, Andrew, Michael, and Sanji. We had such an inquisitive audience and interactive webinar. That wraps up our webinar today. Don't forget to keep an eye on your email for the $100 Amazon gift card. And we'll see you on our next webinar with Axiros. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Rochelle.